Ooh, I think this place is haunted. If you know, you know. Hi. Welcome in, party people. Oh my goodness. I've just been sitting here churning up spoons and gathering energy and good vibes, dealing with all kinds of tech issues that shouldn't happen, but we've got a lot of things worked out. But oh my gosh, so many folks already here and hanging out and lurking and all that good stuff. Thank you for being here. Pickle Hannah, YRM Queen, thank you for the follow. Lurkers, listeners now and later. Hope you're having a beautiful time zone wherever thou may art. I art full of, what do we have for dinner? Chicken! I had some chicken wings. They were good. They were honey garlic flavored. Yes, Pidge in the back with Flurb. They also say hello. Flurb, if you jump on Pidge's face again, we're going to have to clip it. Hopefully that won't happen, but for Pidge's face's sake. But I also chopped off like 5 inches of my hair. And that means I'm not overheating so that I can wear it down when it's not hot outside. What a concept. But I hope everybody's having a beautiful time zone, and I already said that, but I fucking mean it, okay? I mean it. I'm glad you're here. Thanks, Pidge. Thanks a lot. I kind of had a moment with the eyeliner tonight, and it fought me at every turn. It's one of those don't look too closely. That's why I'm going to be moving my head a lot this evening. I know. Eyebrows and eyeliner are supposed to be sisters, not twins. Mine are complete strangers, and we don't have to talk about it. But I kind of just want to dive right in to picking up where we left off last time. For those of you who were here for that or watched the VOD on YouTube, follow me at youtube.com/potatum with the number 8. We started reading the publication from Autistic Girls Network that was published in 2022 called Autism, Girls, and Keeping It All Inside. Autism, comma, girls, comma, and keeping it all inside. And we got about 10 pages in, so picking up with part 2 where we left off. There's 39 pages, but we're like in the middle of sort of like categorical lists of traits that may exist in someone who has masked their autism or internalized their autism due to environmental situations out of your control, right? As we've talked about many a time on this channel. Oh my God, so many times. But this is Autism Acceptance Month, and you will accept it. So we're going to talk about it some more, okay? Slaps it on table. Slaps the roof of car. You could fit so much autism in here. So yeah, I'm just going to dive right in. I don't know how far we'll get tonight, but we're going to see, aren't we? And I've got to fix this, cuz I was like partially out of frame for a good portion of it. But I've got the chat closer for my eyeballs' sake. For the sake of my balls. My eyeballs. All right. So, this is, if you want to follow along, if you just Google Autistic Girls Network, and it's literally like the second result, Keeping It All Inside. I'm on page 11 out of 39. I had to download it. Beaneman, I love you so much. Thank you for being here. You're the best. Excuse me. All right. So, where we left off last time, we were just talking about, you know, what it might look like in friendships in school, and I've talked about friendships, and I've talked about how hard school was and all that shit, and I could easily make a bullet point of instances in my life where these traits line up perfectly and explain so much. They just do. They just do. Now, of course, as we know, autism is a spectrum, so, like, this publication is in no way, shape, or form meant to serve as diagnostic criteria. I don't know if I said that last time, but I should. Just because you relate to something on this list and you're not autistic, that doesn't mean that you are autistic, you know what I mean? So this isn't meant to serve as I must be autistic. This is meant to serve as wait a minute. Like, here's what happens when you are autistic and don't know about it and are forced to mask and hide it and adapt accordingly in order to survive your environment, in whatever case that might be. And here's what that might look like. Here's how that might manifest for you. So let's get into it. Anxiety. Uh-oh. Who's co-pilot? I don't want to ask. Listen, too many bells and whistles on this new shit these days. I just want to highlight for highlight purposes. Hello, Mr. Adobe? A word. Okay. May have situational mutism. I definitely have autistic friends who experience that. I don't know that I do. I don't know what that, like, I'm going to look it up right now because also known as selective mutism, it prevents people from speaking in certain situations. I mean, yeah, that's self-explanatory, but like I relate to, well, I relate to that, but I don't know if I would call it mutism. I think I just, when I'm overloaded or extremely anxious, I truly can't words, and I physically cannot speak. I can't get words out. I don't know. Is that mutism? Is that what this is? I don't know, but it's definitely being able to not words when you're fucking stressed or overloaded or a million things going on or can't think, you know. Maybe prone to extended absence from school. Oh my fucking God. School and work. We talked about the cycle of a masking autistic person, like the work cycle. The, you know, get a job that you're probably overqualified for, but you need a job and they're hiring, like a call center or a fucking Chipotle in my case, bitch. You name it, I've done it. And it would get to the point where I would try my best and give my 100%, which was firing on all cylinders at all times because that's what we were told to do, right? And then get putting all this responsibility on me for going above and beyond, and me just taking it because I'm a people pleaser and I can't say no, and I don't want to get in trouble, and I want to be liked and be appreciated. So of course I'm going to do the extra work, and then I get burnt out, and then I get nauseous and sick every night thinking about going to work in the morning. Rinse, repeat. Same with school. Like I remember every single semester of college bargaining with myself at the beginning of the semester. Like, Tatum, this is going to be the semester that you get your act together. You're going to go to class. You're going to sit in front. You're going to take hella notes. You're going to ace those quizzes. You're going to ace those exams. And then I would inevitably be burnt the fuck out. And I would skip one class one time. And that started the downhill boulder that I couldn't stop. Like, skipping one class turned into 2, turned into 3, turned into 5, turned into me losing 2 scholarships at the end of my sophomore year and having to beg to get them back and getting them back. Like, oh my God. Yes, extended absence from school. That's putting it lightly. That is putting it lightly. I think before we continue, I do also want to say I'm sloppy tonight on the disclaimers, and I apologize, y'all. But if you already saw the screen, you should know. But we may be talking about and getting into certain topics such as self-harm or suicidal ideation or eating disorders or anything like that, dealing with like coping mechanisms or trauma from, you know, being forced to hide your autism your whole fucking life and all the shit that comes with that. So, but we're all adults here, and I'm not gonna, I don't take this shit lightly. I'm not gonna mince words, and I'm not gonna get gross, but I'm just letting you know. Okay, that was the disclaimer. Let's continue. May have an eating disorder. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Is my music on? I can't hear it. I think it's really quiet. Oh, I hear it now. Okay. Yeah. I don't want to get too into it just because I don't want to, you know, upset or trigger anyone, but that's definitely a part of my journey, especially in college. And I'm learning more about ARFID and what that means and what that looks like and how that manifests. And I find myself relating to that. I think I'm going to do a stream just dedicated on that And I'll let y'all know ahead of time so that if it's, if you're not in the headspace to hear that, then we won't talk about it. But that's a whole other fucking stream. I'm going to say that a lot tonight too. This is so many branches of just like conversations, and I don't want to get so deeply in, or bitch, we'll never finish. May self-harm. Same thing. Experiencing that in various ways through the years and feeling tremendous shame for it and not being able to explain why I'm doing it or even what it is that I'm doing. And another stream that can be all in and of itself. I just want to skim over the heavier topics just for the sake to continue, but you're not alone in either of those things, and I want you to know right now. I figure a lot of the stuff that lets autism fly under the radar in A5 people is societal expectations. Fucking, oh my God. Yep. That's him back there. Yes, Pidge is right. Just speaking from the perspective of the eldest daughter, growing up in Southern Appalachia in the 90s and aughts, where no one even knew what anxiety and depression really were. Depression.
Isn't that just a fancy term for feeling bummed out?
Yeah, that just means really sad, right? That's about the extent of my mental health education growing up. But there were a lot of societal pressures on me to be the mature one for everyone's sake and look after the boys and be emotionally responsible for boys' actions and, being taught real early on that my needs were not important. And being told that, well, I have, food and a roof and a bed, so I should be happy. Just emotional neglect. And society doesn't do much to help that. But that's not just like for women, that's for fucking everyone, right? If you're new here, oh my God, I apologize in advance. Everything is connected, and I often talk about how everything is connected. Capitalism does not allow for empathy or compassion, and the societal expectations that are put on us from a literal preschool age, they're present our whole life, and it never really changes. And they're kind of, sort of unspoken, but heavily implied and heavily expected, right? Like, some shit's plain black and white. Yeah, like, sorry, my brain's going a mile a minute, and I'm just trying to wrangle it in so I can spit out 2 sentences about this. Sexism and misogyny, especially under like the capitalistic patriarchy, is so much more than the overt sexism, like the catcalling and the wage gap and anything that you might think of when you think of like, misogyny 101. It's the implications, it's the expectations, it's the lack of support and lack of accommodations and lack of being taken seriously by authority figures, by peers, by doctors, by anybody that's supposed to take you fucking seriously. So yeah, Pidge, you just opened a wormhole, so I'm gonna shut the lid and keep going. But that's such a good point.
Absolutely, yeah.
Brain go burr, brain stay going burr.
I kind of brought the chat off track, so I wanted to bring it back.
No, you're doing great. All right, here, next one. May have anxiety manifesting in physical symptoms, e.g. stomach ache. Oh my God. Yeah, literally. I 10 minutes ago, not even, was talking about wanting to throw up before every shift at a job where I was extremely burned out. Anytime I'm going through something that takes a lot of my brain's bandwidth and a lot of my attention and a lot of my focus, and it's high stress, my stomach will physically manifest those effects like 12 to 14 hours later. And sometimes it'll last for days. And I need to look more into this, but I like, on a surface level, I've read some of this stuff before, but I need to dust off the cobwebs and pull up some resources for y'all. But there have been studies that talk about the overlap with some autistic people and gastrointestinal issues. And that could be anything from IBS to Crohn's to IBDD to other names of other stomach issues that I can't pronounce or think of off the top of my head. But there's pretty extensive research being done on that even still. Why am I saying even still? Bitch, we barely started researching about autism. Women weren't considered worth studying clinically or medically until 1993 in the US. What am I talking about even still? In the grand scheme of things, we're just getting started learning about this stuff. But yeah, stomach ache, that's putting it lightly. That's putting it fucking lightly. Oh my God. I just wish I had an achy tum-tum every once in a while. I really do. Okay, maybe more likely than peers to have mental health issues. Let me zoom in a little. You don't need to, those pictures aren't important. Yeah. Mental health issues such as anxiety, such as depression, such as the intrusive thoughts, the ideations that come with being chronically misunderstood, misinterpreted, unaccommodated, for having your needs go unmet over and over and over again. That accumulates, that builds up, that doesn't just go away magically. Like, speaking from experience, I stored that shit in my body for 28 years. And when I started learning about this stuff about myself, like my neurodivergence, ADHD first, and then autism, I hit a brick wall over and over again, metaphorically speaking, of course. Don't punch things, guys. It's not worth it. Save your precious hands. Save them. They're dainty and delicate and need to be saved. Don't punch things. Punch pillows. They're soft. But hitting a brick wall over and over again with these realizations and retroactively realizing that so much of my anxiety and so much of my like hopelessness and helplessness and inability to even articulate these things was because I didn't have the language to even know what I was experiencing. But because woman with period and boobs must be just anxiety or just depression. Because humans are not complex, nuanced beings whatsoever and can easily fit into two categories, right? Hi, Atlas. Yes. Don't punch yourself either. Yeah, that's solid advice. Please don't be punching yourselves. Or anyone, really. You know? It's okay. You don't have to. Moving right along. Emotional. May experience intense empathy, including with animals or objects. Lord. I've talked about this at length too. Like, this has been a lifelong thing for me. Like, I am so ridiculously attached to my favorite things, to my certain physical belongings. Like, I made a TikTok about this a long time ago by now, but when I was growing up, you know, kids, you know, are in clothes for a certain time and then you grow out of clothes, and mom would always, whenever I would grow out of clothes, bag them up and give them to her sister, and she would like take them to Goodwill or something, right? And I'm just thinking about being 8 years old and just every bone of my body aching with pain that I'm going to have to say goodbye to like those pink overalls that I loved so much, and like my favorite clothes that I wore all the time because they were comfy and whether they were cute or I liked them or I was used to them. Like, I would weep every single time mom would give away a bag of my clothes. And it's not because I was being a brat. It's because I literally was like mourning the loss of these items. And I was like that with like Barney growing up. I loved Barney, and whenever I was growing out of that and like giving those things away, like, I feel like to people who don't really experience that, I sound like a locomotive train right now going off the tracks. But if you know, you know type thing. Like, whenever I talked about it last, people were like, oh my God, yes, me too. And I'm like, good, because I feel cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs right now saying this out loud. That I used to cry about clothes. But it's more than just that. I have like... Let me see if I can explain this. When I'm painting or playing a video game and listening to something else, and then I look at that part of the painting again, or I go back on that map, that same video game map later, my brain will remind me of what I was listening to at that moment. Like whether it's a true crime podcast or a song or a YouTuber, like whatever. Whenever I look at or think about like objects, I mean like clothes, furniture, appliances that I've, moved various living spaces with and I've had with me for years and years, I think about memories associated with those items. Sometimes I think about where I got them. Sometimes I think about something that happened relating to that item. Sometimes I think about, I don't know, what I was doing last time I interacted with that item. I've never had to explain this out loud before. I wish you all could just take a step into my cursed mind so you could just instantly understand what I'm trying to say. But that's just with objects. Okay. Animals? I cannot visit pet shelters. I've yet to walk out of a pet shelter without crying. I've held it until I've gotten to the car before. But, bitch, if I'm not in there talking to every cat and naming them and singing to them and petting them and scritching them and being sweet with them. Oi, oi, oi. I'm outrageously, ferociously, and unapologetically, empathetically, emphatically attached to animals. Like my whole life. Particularly cats. / half joke, but cats are autistic. Change my mind. They're autistic coded. At the very least. May pretend to be a cat or another animal. I have read this before, but I did not plan that. Yeah. Speaks for itself. May value soft toys and plushies for longer than their peers or not stop. Right. The heating pad that launched 1,000 ships is upstairs, but her too. I slept with plushies for most of my childhood and teen years, but now I have a Pidge, so I don't sleep with plushies anymore. I have a full-grown adult partner and love of life that I now share a life and a home with. We share a cot. We share a twin-sized cot.
It's not that bad.
And we're stacked like loaves of bread. JK. No, we have a queen-size bed, but one day I'm manifesting. I've been manifesting a new place with new furniture and a dishwasher and 2 bathrooms and a bigger bed. And one day we'll have a big bed with a California king, yes. That croc, hi. Wouldn't it be said cats get sensory overload, they don't really like water? I would say, yeah. I mean, a cat's never said that to me in English. But, I mean, we bathe our cats regularly, and it's like, I'm Steve Irwin, and Flurb's it's a crocodile!
She fucking whaps around like one.
Flurb not only detests water, but she turns into James McAvoy at the end of Split and becomes the strongest creature on the planet. And she gets like Hulk bust a door down strength. And it's a mess and it's a time. Hold on, I dropped my shit. Okay. All right. Oh, yeah. Too soon.
it'll always be too soon.
It'll always be too soon for Steve Irwin. It happened literally almost 20 years ago. Wait a minute, huh?
Uh-huh.
What year did Steve Irwin pass away? Someone pop it in the chat. If it was 2006, I'm suing. Who am I suing? Time. Time magazine. This is going off the rails. What else is new? Okay. May seem emotionally and socially younger than their peers. I can definitely... I remember, especially growing up, which is from where most of my perspective will be tonight, because this is about, like, what masked, internalized, unrealized autism looks like. But, like, growing up, I would either... kids my age, like, in my class, butted heads with me too often, I guess because they had to be in the classroom with me and they fucking couldn't stand me for reasons that are probably valid. So I would try to hang out with kids that are like a year or two older than me, and that wouldn't really work either. And I would try to hang out with kids who are like the class below me, and that really wouldn't work out either. And just like, people never guess my age right. Like, that's sort of always been a thing. Like, people, and me for that matter, especially the older I get, I feel like I'm aging in reverse. Like, Benjamin Buttons, plural. I don't want to get sued. I'm aging in reverse in that it's not just like skill regression that comes with like realizing, oh shit, I'm not just a fuck up that can't get it going and that doesn't know the inside scoop that everyone else seems to know. I'm autistic. Oh, okay. Skill regression, instant threshold change. Your limits become a lot more clear. Your thresholds become a lot more clear, and by your I mean my. I don't want to speak for anyone. I'm just speaking about me. I feel like that, with honoring my inner child and healing my inner child and acknowledging my inner child and doing things for my inner child, because my inner child used to be my outer child, and she was straight up not having a good time. From ages 0 to 28, straight up not having a good time. So me honoring that portion of my life and that person who is me, who needed someone like me, you know, like being in my own corner, that makes me feel younger, you know. But I have the achy, creaky old bones of Davy Jones. Okay, my knees are hundreds of years old because I wore them out playing softball for 7 years. But like mentally, spiritually, I feel, yeah, young, a lot younger than I did 10 years ago when I was trying to shove myself into boxes that I didn't fit in and trying to play the game and trying to jump through the hoops and trying to be the adult. Like, fuck that shit. We're adults for way longer than we're kids. It's a scam, a trap, and a setup. Fuck it. I literally take this motherfucker with me everywhere. I love him so much. He doesn't go inside any buildings. He just stays in the car. Life's too short, and we're not kids for long enough, so fuck it. If you like it, wear it. If you want to collect it, get it. If you want to watch it, do it. You know? And fuck what people have to say about it. Truly and sincerely. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. There's so much joy to be had on the other side of not giving a fuck what people think about you. Can't recommend it enough. I'm cringe, but I'm free. May shut down, freeze, stop processing what's going on, and or isolate themselves as likely as meltdown. Yeah. I've had meltdowns, and I talked about it in the last stream where I felt like a raging, angry bulldog bitch all the time because I was so overwhelmed and stressed and anxious and angry all the time, but I couldn't really say or express that when I was like a teenager, 13, 14, 15. So I would just lash out. I would get angry. I would yell. I would cry. And then I would feel this intense shame on what just happened. And, you know, the cycle repeated for 3 decades. But more often than that would happen, by a large margin, I internalized so much of that, and it would turn into a shutdown. And going through that consistently for years meant that there were just months of my life where I was in this burnout shutdown where I was just on autopilot going through the motions, not really processing the world around me, not really engaging in conversations with anyone or really even registering what people are saying around me. Just kind of doing what needs to be done just to get through the day, put food in my body, piss when I need to, just like not putting myself out there, shutting down when I get home and shutting myself in my room and not talking to anyone. That was my life. That was my life. Like being a people pleaser perfectionist will whittle you down to a splinter. Ask me how I know. May exhibit a strong love of animals. We already talked about that at length, and I meant every word. May have alexithymia, difficulty identifying and expressing emotions. Sean Connery. I'm getting better at it. I'm finding particular specific language to describe how I feel, and I am doing better at voicing it out loud because that's how I process shit. But Lord, I do better with it when I have Pidge, when I'm able to talk it out with him and get his perspective, because he isn't locked inside of my brain. He's lucky. He doesn't have to experience that, right? He just experiences whatever I say out of my face hole, in relation to that. But when he's like sleeping or I'm doing my own thing, because like we have slightly different schedules, we sort of, live in shifts like on a stagger, there are a lot of days where I feel like if I were a cartoon character or a sim, I would just have indistinguishable squiggles above my head because I can't even. I'm like, is it discomfort? Is it sadness? Is it anger? Am I thirsty? Are my feet cold? Like, it's more than just emotional, because sometimes I find myself getting hot under the collar and physically angry, and then Pidge will turn the fan off and I'm like, oh, that knockin' ass fan that I had tuned out was making me want to kill people. So that's what it was. Like, I think it's because even when my brain's at rest, it won't shut the fuck up or stop processing extraneous shit that I should have pruned out by now. And a lot of that is me not having the spoons to want to even care to identify it. I just am indistinguishable squiggle for a few minutes and then it's over, But yeah, definitely that. Definitely that. I'm just catching up on the chat. Oh, Bean. Oh, man. Oh, fuck. All right. My mom told me yesterday that I need to sort this autism stuff out because you're 30 and you need to look after us when we're old. The truth comes out. So that's why you had kids. Got it. Got it. She then asked me, are you even officially diagnosed with autism? As if you didn't cry to her 2 minutes after you were told that you were. Like, sheesh. She sees it as a silly autism phase. Oh my God. Okay. Yeah. Sometimes when I get mad, I can't think of words to say. Yeah. Yeah. Oh my God. I'm so sorry. It pisses me off to think about my people, my loved ones, my friends being in situations with shit ass family members who don't understand, don't care to understand, aren't interested in understanding. And in some cases, it would be one thing to be ambivalent, but in some cases they are committed to misunderstanding you. And living like that, it's fucking hard. And I'm going to magically win the lottery and give all of my friends the house of their dreams so that they don't have to put up with fucking bullshit anymore. I love you, and that's bullshit. Yes. Did you have kids to just like take care of you? Like, yeah, yeah. Growing up, I heard a lot of stuff like that. Take care of us when we're old. I also heard a lot of, I hope you have 10 just like you. Like, I hope you grow up and have 10 kids that are just like you. Like, implying that whatever hell I'm putting them through as a child, I deserve it tenfold growing up. So for that and many other reasons, I ain't having kids. No judgment and much love to you if any of you want kids or have kids of your own, of course, as always. But not me, bitch. Not me. Hi, Queen. Welcome in. Thank you for being here. All right. Let's see. Last one on this on emotional here. May internalize problems and, when unrecognized as autistic for too long, may hear voices or develop an internalized presentation of OCD. That's an interesting one. I don't experience hearing voices. There are 28 songs in my head at any given moment, and inner dialogue and quotes from TikToks and Vines and TV shows and movies and Drag Race but not like not voices. Or an internalized presentation of OCD. Again, I'm not diagnosing anyone or myself here, but I was reading about like existential OCD the other day. It's one of my tabs, one of my 140 some fucking tabs. Reading about how that manifests, and my brain will sometimes wring its hands, so to speak, over more existential things. And because my head, I'm not here, you know, I live from here up, and my head is just, oh my God, it's an out of control steamboat, and it won't give me a fucking break. Essentially, I wish I could take my brain out and put it in an ice bath once a night because it needs it. But I do have some autistic friends who also have OCD. And I don't know enough to talk about that at length, but I do want to read more about like existential OCD or even OCD like as a whole, and just learn more about it for myself. I'm not qualified to like give a presentation or talk about it or anything, but I definitely want to learn more. All right, sensory. This is we'll take a break after these four. I need to stretch my legs. May have a strong sensory reaction to clothes, touch, noise, or smell. Yep. Yep. I can't wear socks. We were literally just talking about this, Pidge.
Yeah.
Pidge saw a tweet that cracked him up. He was like, it was like, you know, are you a wear socks at all times or avoid socks at all costs kind of autistic? And he laughed, and we both did, because that's each of us. He's wear socks all the time. I don't want socks unless my teeth are chattering. I can't wear socks unless my teeth are chattering, because it's just sensory hell. My feet get clammy and weird, and I overheat really easily. Temperature dysregulation, really fun. Big fluffy socks all the time, unless you're in bed. Yes. Situational. That's fair. That's fair. Just reading up the chat. Yeah. Just trying to get better about reading the chat and responding in real time. I'm better at it some days than others. What was I talking about? Oh, yeah. Clothes. I can't fucking wear long sleeves unless I'm freezing, or pants. I can't eat in long sleeves. I can't eat with my hair down. My hair has been, I'm on high alert this whole stream because of my hair. I know what y'all are going to say, because y'all are awesome and I love you, and you've said it before. Tatum, don't wear it for us. Put your hair up if it's bothering you. Listen, it's personal, okay? My hair and I have a love-hate relationship, and I just chopped her off and straightened her yesterday. And God damn it, I'm keeping it down. I have the air conditioning box in the window pointed at me right now. It's like 50 degrees outside. I care not. But I'm on like high alert because the back of my neck is hot, bro. I'm not sweaty. It's not like clammy or anything. It's just like, you know. Touch, when I'm overwhelmed, I need physical space. I can't feel like anything's closing in on me, or I'll just like, I'll turn into Taz. Noise, I have a fucking embarrassing startle reflex to the point where Pidge and I have this spoken like pact where he won't like prank me by jumping out and scaring me, because I have night terrors my whole life, and scary faces freak me out. So we've talked at length about how some people have been on the unfortunate receiving end of my swinging fist before, or I'll scream myself hoarse, or I'll start weeping, or I'll piss a little if I have to pee. Like, it's visceral. It's not just tee-hee, don't startle me. My body, if I was a squid, I would ink all over the situation. It's above me. Thank you, Asina Metra. Thank you so much. You used to be a no socks girly. Then you spent too long teeth chattering and your sensory bits flipped 180. Yes. Now I find it more overwhelming and painful not to have socks as that familiar barrier. Yeah. I get that. I wore socks more growing up than I do now. But yeah, sometimes I need that barrier on a cold floor, for instance. Smell. I'm cursed with an 11 out of 10 sense of smell, and I've talked about this as well on TikTok. Where I find myself like involuntarily holding my breath when I'm doing things that are like stinky, like cleaning the litter boxes or taking out the trash or throwing away leftovers, or, you know, I involuntarily hold my breath. I didn't realize how often I did that until I developed asthma. So there's a lot of things that I literally can't do anymore, like bleach the tub in my tiny bathroom with no vents. Like, no, can't do heavy chemicals anymore. I smell things first and I smell them worst. So my mom is like that too. And she is the undiscovered autistic parent who bestowed it upon me. So we definitely take after each other in that one too, in that regard. Are you a super taster? No, I don't. I think if anything, my taste buds are hypo sensitive, and I'm really sensory seeking with food. I like a lot of salt. I like a lot of spice. Yeah, I like a lot of flavor, a lot of seasoning, lime, lemon, anything like that. Crunchy texture, like, if anything, my taste is a little like hypo. I find myself zhuzhing things up a lot so that I can feel something. Lately, smells are so overwhelming for me, especially food smells. Bacon, burgers, boiled eggs. Yes, air fresheners sometimes. Oh my God. Hard relate on certain items. Onions. Yeah, like Pidge, the other night we had some old HelloFresh leftover recipes. We did HelloFresh like 3 summers ago. Okay, listen, all right. I didn't know how shitty they treated their workers and stuff back then, and how much they waste their product, and they do unfair wages and union bust and all that shit. Fuck HelloFresh. I'm just saying, it's where we got the recipe. Okay, you can enjoy it for yourself online. It was the chicken curry with what?
It was the chicken raita.
Chicken raita, that's what it was, yeah. With curry powder and spice, really unique. It's fucking good. It's nutty and like cinnamony, and just, it's phenomenal. We don't make it a lot, just because, like, spoons. It's a unique recipe. We usually have our go-to safe foods, but like in context, in the moment, being down here while he cooked, it was just like such a good experience. And I went to bed. And then he heated up some leftovers at probably, I don't know, a few hours into my being in bed. And I came out to pee, and the smell almost knocked me down, dude. Almost knocked me down. And it was just like cinnamon and nutty and just all the spices of the moment. It was like smelling salts. It like jolted me out of my sleep. Like it took me like 20 minutes to get back to bed, and I had to hold my breath while I peed, like to the best of my ability. Woof. Yeah. Big one with the smell, especially lately because I've been dealing with like loss of appetite and very much am at the whim of my stomach and what the fuck bullshit she's on at any given day. So I'm getting hiccups all of a sudden. Please stop. So yeah, smells are hard. May avoid baths and showers, hair brushing, toothbrushing for sensory reasons. Yes, for sensory and for spoon reasons for me, just like on an executive functioning level, like, of course, all of the above through various stages of my life. Especially like as a teenager, because like my bathroom with the shower was downstairs, but my bedroom was upstairs, and like I had to walk through the living room to get to the bathroom, and I had to be on in my own home, or I had to be like hacha, hacha, ratata, papa, and I just would, skip having to deal with any of that. Yeah, not sensory reasons, not so much. For me, more like spoons, not having spoons, executive function, not being able to do the thing. May have poor interoception. Identifying physical sensations in the body, which can be linked to identifying emotions. I feel like that and alexithymia go hand in hand for me, but they also very much exist strongly on their own. I don't get up to pee unless my eyeballs are floating and unless my bladder is aching, because usually I'm having to deal with the cats are getting into bullshit, or I'm trying to get comfy, or I, am doing things around the house, and when I finally sit down and then my bladder's like,
There you go.
hey girl, I'm like, shut the fuck up! I just sat down! Can I have 10 minutes of peace? And then an hour and a half goes by, and then my bladder goes doom, 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 doom. Self-destructing in 10, 9. And I'm like, okay, so I gotta stop what I'm doing. So part of that is me, my ADHD keeping me busy at all times. Part of that is me, my persistent demand for autonomy, ignoring it and saying, fuck you. Same with being thirsty or being hungry. It's very much I feel separate from my body in that moment. I'm like, bitch, I'm doing other things. I'm busy. You don't need to be that way right now. I'm doing a thing, and I'll get to you when I get to you. And then all of a sudden I'm nauseous and lightheaded and I'm about to pass out, and I have to emergency cram 48 Cheez-Its down my gullet. That's why I haven't eaten Cheez-Its in months. I had too many emergency sessions with them. Oh. May self-soothe. I'm tripping. Self-soothe. Thanks for watching. I'm sorry, but I've got to go.
See you next time, guys.
Bye. May self-soothe sensory overload. God damn it. By listening to music with headphones, pacing up and down, or other favorite technique. Yeah, I find myself just doing a big old zone out and just letting my body sway and whatever, Usually in whatever tempo, whatever song I have in my head. I'm also like pick at my skin to like dissociate or like self-soothe, just like random shit. Like, I'm not big on wearing headphones except when I'm streaming because they're tight on my head, like including right now, but they're cute, so fuck it. But yeah, of course, so many of my autistic friends love wearing headphones and wear them all the time, and I mean, I pretend I'm on my phone when I'm in public so people want to talk to me. But I want to start wearing headphones so people leave me alone. But that's not what this is about. This is about like self-soothing. I kind of need silence and oxygen in my lungs and the ability to move freely or speak freely or speak through it, you know? Pacing up and down, yeah, pacing too. Let me catch up with the chat and then we'll take a little BRB. We got through one page, y'all. It only took us an hour. What the fuck? But I don't care. This is my stream. We're talking about stuff. And I'm having fun. Okay? Let's see. Yeah, chat. That's right. Brushing teeth. Yes, guitar guy. Massive sensory issues. Do y'all have a preference over the material of the utensils? Like, I don't like eating with metal. Doc Croc, thank you for asking. For me, it depends on what I'm eating. For certain meals, it has to be a plastic fork. Because if it's a metal fork, I can taste the metal and it will interfere with the taste of the meal. But other meals, I need that metal taste. Because I'm used to it, I guess. It's not so much a feeling thing. It's more of like a tasting, this makes sense thing. You know? Showers are an oppressive hierarchy. Showers are insurmountable until I get in there. And then I'm like, I live here now. I'm never getting out. And then my face gets all histamine intolerancy and splotchy. It's a whole thing. I got is that High Smile toothpaste that tastes like mango sorbet. Ooh, because I hate minty toothpaste. Wow, mango sorbet. I'm just trying to think of how much different that would be and if I would like it or not. I love that for you, and I'm glad that they have that option. I've used like bubblegum toothpaste before. It's nasty. Yeah. I held the bladder a lot. Working in kitchens for 15 years. That'll do it. That'll do it. Your grandma held it a lot when young and was super incontinent. Yeah. I've held my pee to the point of UTIs before. Do not recommend. I ain't reading that. Big skin picker, nail biter. Wear headphones almost 24/7 and have music on loud as fuck because it feels nice on my ears. Unless I'm overwhelmed, then I have to take them off because I can't breathe. Yes. Nail biter here. Yes. I'm a scalp picker. Lifelong. Scalp scratcher, scalp picker. Couldn't stop if I wanted to. And I've tried. Now I'm thinking about all these toothpaste flavors I want to try. I'm going to be contemplating those as we pivot into this smooth talking BRB. I don't know what this is, but I'm going with it. We're going to pick up where we left off right after this. Stretch 'em, drink 'em, smoke 'em if you got 'em. Welcome back. Catch my breath. I had to take a puff of this.
You're right.
Not this. I don't think I've shown this on stream. It's legal in my state, therefore it's legal on my stream. But look at my new little pipe bowl. Doing the makeup guru hand. I love hymns. All right, I just realized that I spent an hour on one page. So if I don't elaborate on every single point going forward, I'm just trying to get through these. So if I don't have anything to say, I'm just going to be like, so there's that one. You know what I mean? We'll be here all lifetime if I if I talk at length about every single one of these. I don't want there to be 7 parts of this. I was hoping to do it in 3, but I'm thinking it's probably going to be 5. But that's okay, because after tonight's stream, not like... Let me just start that sentence over. Tomorrow, or like the next day, or the next couple of days, I'm going to have this uploaded to YouTube where all of my stream VODs live. If you want to subscribe to me there. I'm trying to reach 1,000 so that I can start monetizing my videos on there. Every little droplet of income helps to get me the fuck out of here. Let me plug some other things while I'm at it. I'm kind of not good at this. I'm incidentally wearing a merch right now. Over 40 designs, all by me at potatum.com. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right. I appreciate you. I do game. I game a lot, and I will game on here more often. When I first started streaming, I gamed like exclusively, but now I mainly just like do Fortnite, but I want to do other things. But yes, I game. Hephaestus! Thank you so much for subbing. 6-month streak. Get out of here. Please don't. Please don't leave. I know you just subbed again. Please don't get out of here. Thank you so much. Love and hearts to you. I'm spiteful at Fortnite. I'll say that. Pidge is hyping me up. I did win a match.
You won a match while eating breakfast.
Yeah, I did. I won a match while eating my breakfast. Do I make my characters with masks? Sometimes I do. Sometimes I'm playing Tina's, what's it called even? Tina's Tiny Wonderland? I just call it Tina. Tiny Tina's Wonderland right now, and yeah, I like to change my character's looks a lot, but incidentally, yeah, my character's wearing a mask. Just like one of those ones. But yes, of course. All right. I'm going to try to pick up the pace here a little bit. Not doing so hot so far. Okay? The longer I keep snapping, the more time I'm wasting. So let's go.
Keep it up.
Social. May try hard to understand and learn social codes. Growing up, it's all I ever did. In my friendship stream, I talk about this at length, but I was an observer of people, and I was always sort of like on the fringes, on the outside looking into a situation, even if I was like physically there. You know what I mean? Like, I spent a lot of time observing and learning and recognizing patterns and realizing, oh, that's a funny, witty response to something that doesn't make people look at them weird, you know, and just like optimizing my brain to try to be able to weave myself into these conversations and like social things with people. And it's hit and miss, hit and miss, hit and miss. When you're trying to jump into the double dutch ropes and you get hit in the face, my whole fucking life. Oh my gosh, Highlights magazine. That was my shit. I loved Spot the Difference. I loved Goofus and Gallant. Is it Gallant or Gallant? Well, my captions don't help me because it just did two at the same time. I think it's Gallant with 2 L's. I would like write in because I wanted to get a little blurb in Highlights magazine, but it never got submitted. But like I loved Highlights magazine. You just like dusted the cobwebs. Okay. More likely than peers to be LGBTQIA+. I'm not trying to speak out of school, and I will link all this in my Discord, like things that I covered during stream and links to studies that I talk about, because I'm not pulling this shit out of my ass, but I'm not a source-cited machine either. But I read a recent study or report that autistic people are up to 6 times more likely to be non-binary or trans. And I thought that was really interesting and even like anecdotally true in my own life, like thinking of my own circle, my own community of autistic folks, late discovered or not, late diagnosed or not. Like, so many of my friends are non-binary, are trans, and I don't have like numbers or anything as far as like the entire LGBTQIA, you know, but that one study up to 6 times more likely. I don't know the reasons that it lists. I can guess that maybe it has to do with just like authentically and innately existing outside of the binary and like being able to visualize the outside of the binary, because You seem to have a hard time finding where you fit into the binary. I don't know. I'm not trans, so I can't even begin to understand what that feeling is like. But, you know, I'm just speculating here, so I'll stop now. But I myself am pansexual. I'm in a straight passing relationship. I didn't even come to terms with what I originally thought and understood was like bisexuality until I was able to exist in a healthy relationship and get to know my real self and not be ridiculed for who I am. So, I mean, Pidge is my life partner, my person, and this, you know, me discovering this about myself changes absolutely nothing in that regard. Just wanted to more so share that I don't know if I've ever said it on stream. I've said it on Twitter, I'm pretty sure, but yes, I am pansexual. I think so. I used to observe people too, especially popular people, and study the way they stand, the way they smile, the way they say things. Yes. To try to recreate that in hopes that people would like me. Yes. I told y'all the story about how I begged mom to get me those really expensive pair of pants and all the buttons fell off in 2 months and I never heard the end of it. And I found myself emulating people who were getting it right because I very wasn't. Totally. Maybe more likely to be bullied than peers. YouTube.com/potatum. Watch my friendships stream. Friendships are hard is the name of it. And it's also true. I talk about in painful length, I would say, my experience with being bullied all throughout school and the whole fuck shit that went down in middle school that made me have to move out of the state and get the state police involved. Great cliffhanger for my YouTube channel. Go check it out. Help me get to 1,000 subscribers there. That accent is illegal, I'm pretty sure. Shouldn't have done it. May have a strong sense of social justice or moral compass, likely to stick up for the underdog in whatever way they are able to. When I first started learning about autism and the autistic sense of justice, as it's often called in a lot of places, I'm like, that seems too noble for me. I don't think about, like, for me, I don't call it a strong sense of justice. I call whatever mine is a low tolerance for fuckery and an intolerance for bullshit and injustice. It's not so much that I'm striving for justice, truth, and order. I'm like, this is fucking bullshit. Here's why, A through Z, alpha through zeta. And I operate very much from that. So I'm not dun 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 dun. I'm like, what the fuck? You know? But hey, you call yours whatever you want. I'm not here to tell you how you should describe your autism also. You won't catch me being like, it's not autistic, it's have autism. I don't care how you refer to it for yourself or for me. I don't.
As long as you don't invalidate anybody with anything that you do.
Yes, what Pidge said, and I'll repeat it in case you didn't hear it. As long as you don't invalidate others, truly and sincerely do what you want. And I'm very much in agreement with that. Agreeance. It's real. It's a real word. Look it up. Agreements. May not play along with society's rules or recognize authority figures as anything other than equals. I know, listen, I said I was going to hurry through this list, but god damn it, if I want to speak on a point, I want to speak on a point. If this has 11 parts, it has 11 parts.
You said you wouldn't say anything
unless I had something to say. That's true. That's right. That's true and that's right.
Play by your rules, kid.
I gotta play by my own rules. I posted about this before and then I retweeted it recently, but like, if a rule, I'm talking about not implied rules, not what do they know that I don't. I'm talking about like explicit, specific rules that you're given, like in a work or school scenario. If it made sense to me, I didn't have a reason to like question it or wonder about it or need clarification, right? But so often, rules weren't specific enough, or they were worded in a way that I didn't understand or see, and I needed clarification a lot of times. And in most situations that I was in, whether it be in school or at work, college, any age, people don't like being asked for clarification. I had to quickly learn the hard way. So that made me internalize a lot of my questions, and that turned me into being resilient out of necessity and finding solutions because I didn't want to bother anyone with my questions because I was told that they were incorrect and like I was a burden and I was bothering people for asking them. So no, I don't play along with bullshit fucking clerical, esoteric, fucking intangible rules that don't make sense. Because they don't make sense. But if other people are ignoring rules that are plain and clear, that drives me bonkers. Because
It's right there.
it's right there and it feels like a choice. And it's like, wait, why? I'm like struggling, so I've got to find how I worded it on the tweet. Yes. The autistic experience of not knowing which work rules can be broken because you tend to follow rules as long as they make sense, and you tend to break rules that don't make sense while everyone else seems to break important rules, but you're the only one that gets in trouble. Very that. And it's also, sometimes I didn't recognize authority figures as equals, but the way that I interacted with them made them think that I did. Asking for clarification is not something that a student does to a teacher. It's something that adults do with each other. Like, that's not how it really is, but that's what I was taught, right? Like, anything that I had, if I had to verbally ask for a peek behind the curtain because everyone else seems to get it, but I don't, that was a no-no. I was supposed to just know it already. And being asked a question, being asked, I guess, to say it out loud or to verbalize why they're telling me to do a thing was seen as a threat to them. You know, like, this is just me trying to decode and demystify the allistic mind, the neurotypicality of the world. Uh-oh, stream hiccup. Could you make sure the stream's still going, boo?
Yeah.
Is it?
I'll have to check.
Oh, okay.
Something happened.
Okay, we might be good. And because you're AMAB, they gave you the ODD diagnosis. Is that oppositional defiant disorder? Holy shit. That's so... Okay, Atlas, welcome back. ODD is such... a confusing thing for me because it feels nothing but punitive. I'm not saying it's not real. I'm not saying it doesn't exist. Obviously, that just seems like one of those diagnoses that people put that's put on people who, we don't know what to do with you. You're not listening for whatever reason. You're not following along for whatever reason. You just won't do it. You are oppositional and defiant, and you are disordered because of it. Like, it just seems very not helpful. It seems very pathologizing and like stigmatizing, you know? It just does. May laugh at inappropriate moments. If I had $1. If I had $1 for every time I did that, I'd have a lot of dollars. That's why I don't go to serious things like funerals. For many reasons. But funerals are another one of those awful, but natural and like inevitable things in your life that you have to attend eventually if you're like related to somebody or married to them, right? Like it's something everybody has to experience it. I've been to funerals, but it's just, it's at a funeral, the stakes to fuck up have never been higher. To misread a comment or a conversation at a funeral, like,
Because the dead person really cares.
it's not about the dead person. It's about insulting the people that the dead person left behind.
You're
You
right.
know,
Yeah.
it's about a slight misstep can just send everybody dominoing into grief. And I've seen it happen before where one person will start crying and then it's very much a domino effect. And I'm like that too. If I see someone crying, I start welling up. Like ugh! Funerals give me hives, dude. I'm afraid. I'm afraid that I'll outburst or I'll laugh at something I shouldn't, like involuntarily. Like I'm afraid of fucking it up so bad. I avoid situations where me laughing would be extremely detrimental. Like funerals. May use echolalia, repeated scripted speech, likely from TV shows, etc. I'm a singer, so I've been mimicking sounds and birds and harmonizing with my vacuum cleaner my whole fucking life. I'm a human jukebox. He knows. Everyone I've ever lived with or been around knows. Like, if you've been in a Discord call with me on a video game, you know. I do it to an extent on here sometimes. Like, I'm a noisemaker, okay? I can be found in a pack of 40 at Party City. May have a tendency to people please and give the answers they think you want to hear. Fawning. Fawning is one of the 4 like main trauma responses. There's fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. And that was very, very, very me. People pleasing, saying what I thought was the right thing, even if I didn't feel like if it was like detrimental to me, it didn't matter. Like, just yes across the board. I talk about it all the time, so we'll continue. Maybe more likely to self-identify as emo and or geek. We talked about this last time, but anti-intellectualism seems to be like on its resurgence. And like 20 years ago, it was very that too when I was a kid and I knew things about things and I was like made fun of for that and called a geek, nerd, dweeb, dork. Every zing zangy walla walla bing bangy 90s variation of that, right? So not so much a self-label. It was more so, well, people fucking beat my ass about it on the playground, so I'm reclaiming it. I'm a geek and I'm proud. You know, like, it was very much like, not my choice. But fuck it. There's nothing wrong with knowing things. There's nothing wrong with being smart. Diluting yourself for other people only screws you out of knowing yourself and knowing yourself past a surface level. I didn't know myself past a surface level until I was 28 years old. Because I was fucking worried about all this shit. Playing the game, running the race, getting it right. Doing it right. Hitting all the marks. Hitting all the milestones. Making everyone proud. Doing what everyone else wants to fuck. Right? Fuck all that shit. Anyway, I am a geek and I'm proud. May work extra hard to understand people. Psychology and the inner workings of the human mind have been a special interest of mine for my entire fucking life. Out of necessity, but also out of just like, I like learning about it. I do. It's interesting to me. May have intense interests in common topics for their peers, like animals, fiction, especially Harry Potter, woof, and also psychology and marginalized groups. Yeah, dude, in the 90s and aughts, I'm going to say it. I ate, drank, and lived Harry Potter. I used to go to the midnight book releases with my also autistic mother and was immersed in that world. for like escapism reasons, because I used to like just gobble up books and just voraciously read them all the time, and I like wanted to be Hermione so bad. Like I dressed up as her for Halloween and I quoted her a lot, and we both had long wavy hair, and like that was like my escapism. Of course, now I don't read the books, I don't talk about it, I don't reference it, I don't support it. Fuck JK Rowling. .com every day, bitch, until my last breath. And I mean that. Just because I had an attachment to it as a kid, I'm able to realize that and acknowledge it for the truth, because it was the truth. And also say, fuck that shit. And now looking back on it as an adult and being like, wow, yeah, a lot of that shit was racist and anti-Semitic and problematic. Of course. Oh yeah, where's Flurb? Is she back there?
She with me.
She with you. Okay, let's see. Maybe less conforming to gender stereotypes such as shaving legs or armpits, long or straightened hair. Yeah, that's a sensory thing for me. I don't shave. I used to shave my legs and armpits like fucking religiously at all times. Growing up especially, I would have exes that would like literally pretend gag at the sight of body hair, which is a red flag. I'm learning. For reasons that I don't really necessarily want to get into because it's Twitch and I don't want to TOS. But we're mammals and we're also adults. And someone else's body hair, especially if it's, I don't know, strawberry blonde. I don't even know what color my hair is. Grosses you out to the point where you go in your late 20s. That's fucking embarrassing. But, yeah, my skin gets really dry if I shave it too often. And also, like, I'm kind of allergic to my deodorant. So I keep having to switch deodorants and it keeps happening again. So, like, shaving it only makes it worse. So, like, it's a sensory thing for me.
I forgot to tell you, that's happening to me too.
That's happening to you too? You're having an allergic reaction to it? Well, we gotta switch deodorant brands for both of us. Yeah. Okay. Long or straightened hair. I used to straighten and fry the shit out of my hair every single morning before school because I had big, bushy, curly, life of its own nervous system and heartbeat hair. And now I'm just embracing it. I straightened it when I cut it to make sure I got it even. Close enough. But other than that, I keep the heat off of it. Fuck that. I don't care anymore. I don't care anymore. Maybe more likely when old enough to have brightly colored hair and multiple piercings. Yeah, I colored my hair like 5 times in one summer when I was in my 20s, all these wacky, cool colors and multiple piercings. I myself have 7 piercings. I want to get my other nostril pierced, but COVID is a thing and they can't pierce it through a respirator. So the moment I'm able to, though, I'm getting my other nostril pierced. FR. When am I going hot pink? Ugh. I did have pink hair years ago, but it wasn't hot pink. I want to dye my hair, but sometimes I don't. One time, I dyed it half orange and half yellow, and I looked like Ponyta, the Pokemon. But hot pink, maybe one day. Maybe just the tippies, or just like 2 strips. Like, what if I kept my natural, like, strawberry blonde hair and just did these 2 strips like orange or pink? That'd be fun. Ooh, shiny. Tempted to get your septum done. Yeah. I feel you. I got my septum pierced in March 2022 and it gave me problems for 3 months and that was short-lived. I miss it though. It was super fucking cute on me, damn it. Let's see. It was nothing but trouble. Not worth it. From start to finish. Yeah, the piercing itself was traumatizing. PG almost passed out. He was there with me. That's another story for another day. Masking or lots of peopling will cause exhaustion. Yep. When you mask your autism for 28 years and you hit that brick wall of realizing that you're autistic, and by you I mean me, I was in nothing but nothing, it can't be described as anything but autistic burnout for 3 years and counting. So, if being around people makes you tired, no judgment here. Big same, hard relate. Even me talking to a camera in my living room and seeing y'all's words and feeling your presence here, but seeing them on the screen, it still uses spoons. For me to be a human and not just exist in my own noggin and do what I'm doing, but to be perceived in any capacity ever expends my spoons. But I'm in my house. I'm comfy, surrounded by cats and love and pillows and Grogu. So, like, I combat it as best as I can. And y'all are really awesome. And I love having you here and you being here and watching these back and reading the comments. Finger guns. May need time alone to recover from the peopling. Yeah. When I did the art festival, local art festival in 2022, I spent 6 months preparing for it and I needed 6 months to recover. And that's not hyperbole. I need to recharge. When I'm done peopling, that was all of my CPU. All of my cylinders had been busted already, and I need to recover. It's as simple as that. Autistic inertia. Holy shit. We talk about this quite a bit. May have difficulty with organization. Right in the ADHD, you know, it was really cute when I would get a binder at the beginning of each semester, and then by midterms, I would just be pulling loose leaf papers out of my backpack from all my classes, and they're like in the order of when they were in the day. Like, I used to commute like minimum 30 minutes to work and to school, and I basically lived in my car. Not really, like, that's obviously hyperbole, but like I lived too far to go home between class or like before work, so I would like nap in my car and live in my car and eat in my car, and it was a mess. Organized. I'm weird. I'm weird about making sure that certain things are organized to the T. For instance, my DVD collection is alphabetized, but everything else, just various doom piles of controlled chaos. Okay. May find it difficult to get started on a project or assignment. Yeah. I use organization as a control anxiety reducer or avoidance of a task. That's real. That's real. That's real. Yeah. I'm like, you know what? I've been meaning to alphabetize my photo folder on my laptop instead of doing 4 things over here that need to be done urgently. So let me just do that real quick. Yeah, very that. Very that. Matter of fact, I think my DVD organization was a procrastination project. I'm positive that it was, now that I'm thinking about it. But it's the getting started. It's also the, okay, I'm going to stop this now and do something else. It's the changing of tasks. And I'm at a constant stalemate with my ADHD, right? Because my ADHD craves dopamine, craves spontaneity, craves acting on impulses, craves doing the thing at random, right? Whenever you feel like it. And then my autism will be like, but wait, I am still very much in this mode right now. But also that thing's pulling me over here. When I tell you that for literally 3 decades of my life, I thought that I was irredeemably fucked, and I would always be a problem and a burden to myself, and this tug of war that I didn't even realize was a tug of war was going to be the death of me, quite literally. But once I learned how my ADHD manifested and what that looked like, and getting that medicated, and then realizing, wait, what's all this shit over here now? And realizing, oh, that's autism. And then learning about how they coalesce and fucking hate each other and are at odds and ends all the time. Like, it's helped me make sense of quite literally my entire life and answer questions that I didn't know that I even had about the inner workings of my own mind, that if I had known 20 years ago, bitch, who knows? I'd be dangerous. I would be dangerous. Anyway, may find it difficult to build a plan without breaking it down into... Okay. I'm going to have to break the sentence down. My brain is scrambled eggs. May find it difficult to build a plan without breaking it down into much smaller segments. Yeah, of course. And that could be anything from doing a new project to designing merch to writing a piece to creating content to, okay, I just woke up and I'm laying in bed, and what are the steps that I have to do to get downstairs? Like, I watched a video of this married couple where the wife is autistic and the husband is not. And she was asking him, okay, so in the morning when you wake up, what do you think? What do you do? And he's like, I get up, I go downstairs, I just start my day. And she's like having a moment. And he's like, why? What do you do? And she's like, I lay there. Well, I don't remember what her instance was. It was similar to mine, but I'll just share what I do. I lay there, I wake up, I sort of take a mental checklist of my body. Okay, my knee hurts, my hip hurts. I gotta pee soon. I probably got 20 minutes. So I'm gonna get up, I'm going to put my glasses on, turn that fan off, turn the humidifier off. Like, I'm listing every single incremental molecular thing that I have to do. And that's how I operate through life. Like, I have to go over the list in my head before I do it. Otherwise, I'll miss 4 steps because I'm not thinking about them. Like, I'm like, okay, purse, phone, keys, inhaler, water. Let's go get lunch. Make sure you lock the door. Did you feed Angie? Check the mail. Like, everything is incremental. Everything is one step, and everything can be broken down into 5,000 fragments. Help me. Likely to have an intense focus on what is of interest. Size and lifetime of various special interests that I bring up in conversation, whether you ask me to or not. Because they're always on my mind. May find it difficult to be interrupted when in flow. Oh, yes. And thinking about it, growing up, whether I'm doing homework, reading, practicing, in the groove, in the flow, when someone tries to talk to me, I cringe. And I cringe at my past self from all the times where I was like, what? What is it? What do you want? And just absolutely going Linda Blair on whoever poor unfortunate soul happens to be asking me a question. Of course, now I'm able to recognize, okay, someone's talking to you over here. Let's get to a stopping point mentally here. And over here, they're looking at me and I'm just like silent for 10 seconds. And then I'm like, hi, could you please repeat that? Because I didn't get it at all. Of course, when I'm a kid, I didn't have that wherewithal. I didn't have that knowledge. I didn't have that ability to be that articulate, right? Likely to find transitions of all kinds difficult. Yeah. Lately, my sleeping schedule has been, it's better now, but it was all sorts of fucked. And whenever in general, I have a really stressful day, or I feel like I get a really, really late start, where I feel like I can't get relaxed as soon as I wish that I can or normally need to, I will find myself staying up later because I don't want to deal with the transition of stopping what I'm doing and winding down for bed because I'm not ready. Because, like, I'm like, I think it's called revenge bedtime procrastination, where it sounds intense, but bitch, it is, because I'm very much separate from my nervous system at that point, and I'm like, fuck you, I'm doing what I want to do. God damn it. And if I want to stay up until 4:30 playing Borderlands, that's what I'm gonna do, okay? So as sleepy as you want to be, you'll just keep rubbing your eyes and keep yawning and keep getting swimmy headed until you can't stand up anymore, god damn it. And that's how I live my life, you know? All right. Other possibilities. Oh, yes. There aren't enough hours in the day. There really aren't. There really aren't. I'm going to need at least 50 of them shits. I keep myself awake because I'm scared I won't be interested in the thing when you wake up in the morning. Yes. I do that with food a lot. Like, even when I feel myself getting full, I'm like, well, I have like 4 bites left and it's really tasty, and who knows if the dopamine will hit next time I need to eat. I'm going to just finish this. Same with whatever I'm doing. Like, if I better do this while I'm here, because who knows when I'm going to want to again. Very, very similarly, being in a 32-year-old body and being on the floor for any reason, before I get back up, I'm like, what else can I accomplish while I'm down here? Let me just pick that up right there. Let me just get that put away. Okay, now we rise up. May have a vivid imagination. My brain is an out-of-control locomotive barreling down the hill. It's on fire. It's also spewing out dust and paper and debris and sounds and smells and sound bites. And Jesus Christ. My mouth can't hang. When it comes to having to verbalize how shitbaggingly particular my brain is when it comes to imagining things, my mouth can't keep up. I'm just going to say yes. May enjoy collections. Collecting is the play rather than doing something with the items collected. I'm just laughing because I'm thinking about Animal Crossing, and bitch, I'm thinking about any game I ever play. I'm a looter, I'm a scrounger, I'm a little loot goblin, I'm a collector. Like, I like collecting things and having them. I like having 28 stacks of 30 pieces of iron, because you never know. I like having froggy chairs in every color, because you never know. I like the act of owning multiple things that are variations of the same thing. And I like looking at all of the variations next to each other. I like it. I do. And I'll grit my teeth about it every time. Collecting is the play. Yeah. Yes. I used to collect colored pencils and never use them. And I would put them in gradient order, Roy G. Biv, and everything in between, and just look at them. Just look at them. Okay. Can be perfectionists. Lifetime of check. Stemming repetitive behaviors. Less likely to be noticeable. Small movements or internalized. For me, it's repetitive thoughts, repetitive sounds, the echolalia in my head. And if I'm in the environment where I feel like I can safely do it, I do it. Like, of course, being my unmasked self in my home, I'm a fucking soundbite machine. I kind of hold back in front of Pidge too. I think he's upstairs, but I hold back because, bitch, I can't stand myself. And we share a home together, so I'm not trying to drive the poor man up the wall. You know what I mean? But I feel like the cats get it worst. The cats see the worst of me. They see the extent. They hear the extent of my stems and my little movements and whatever else. But sometimes that shit's involuntary. Just a quick story. I tweeted about this a long ass fucking time ago, but I was in like first grade, and I used to watch Timon and Pumbaa, the cartoon, and Inspector Gadget, the cartoon, every morning before school. And I was in class, and the Inspector Gadget theme song was stuck in my head, and it was on 15 out of 10. Boom, ba-dum, ba-dum, Inspector Gadget. Boom, ba-dum, ba-dum, boom, boom. And then, you know, if you know the song, that's where the voices go, hoo hoo, right? Well, I thought that I was just doing my little worksheet in class, just bopping along, right? Then all of a sudden I involuntarily class is silent. We're not talking amongst ourselves. We're working. Hoo hoo. People jump, turn, look. And if they didn't do that, I wouldn't have even realized that it was out loud. But I startled the class with this involuntarily whoo whoo sound that was in my fucking head. 25 years later, I'm still embarrassed. I'm still embarrassed. I'm sorry. To the first grade class of redacted elementary. Likely to have strong opinions when not masking in a safe space, and difficult to convince they are wrong. I'm laughing because the last half of that sentence was Tatum, ages 0 through late 20s. Like, couldn't tell me shit. And of course, such is not the case anymore. I'm still like unpacking why I felt like that. Why I felt the need to be that. Oh my gosh, is it a kitty break? Let's take a kitty cat break. Bum ba dum ba dum. It's Widow Minka's. Bum ba dum ba dum bum bum.
Hey, we just sweepins.
Inspector Minka's. Oh, Mister. Look at the Pete's. Bum ba dum ba dum. It's little Minka. Bum ba dum ba dum boom 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 boom.
Look at the camera, bruh. Mr. Meester.
You come closer this way.
I'm a Stinky. Can I hold him?
Of course.
Hi, Mister.
Him the chillest boy in the world. Ugh. Bum-ba-dum-ba-dum, it's Stinky Minka. Bum-ba-dum-ba-dum, boom, boom. Bum-ba-dum-ba-dum, it's Stinky Minka.
Hey, Stinky!
Hey, Stinky! Oh, Mista.
All right, buddy.
I sincerely doubt you want to sit with me, but you're more than welcome to. He might.
Sometimes when he's woken up from a sleep, he's in a cuddly mood.
Oh, was he sleeping upstairs?
Yeah, I didn't grab him. He got down.
Ouch. Okay, well. He jumped off me belly. Okay, we're back. Inspector Gadget. You're welcome for the earworm. I am not sorry. Okay, yeah. Difficult to convince they are wrong. Yeah, I was fucking just so stubborn and so headstrong and so... I'm right and this is why, and I will not be taking questions at this time or entertaining what you even have to say. And Jesus Christ, the years of work that have gone into undoing that shit and unlearning that shit and putting my ego down and putting my almost like obsessive need to be correct down. That took a lot of fucking doing, and now the crux of like advocating for something or having a low tolerance for bullshit, the crux of that now is not I'm right and you're wrong. It's here's the truth. Here are the facts. I'm interested in learning the correct information and presenting the correct information. And when I started doing this, like whatever this is, content creation, advocacy work, whatever you want to fucking call it, I had to like sort of make it a point to say, you know what? you know, it didn't happen before. Like, this isn't something, okay, one day you're going to be wrong, and when it happens, this is what you're going to do. No. I got called out early on. I don't even remember what the instance was, but it was important, and I made a mistake, and I was unintentionally ableist. I believe when talking about, I really don't remember, but it was about probably mid 2022 when all this like started ramping up. But I, of course, had the thought of, well, that wasn't my intention. That's not what I meant. That's not what I said. That's not at all. But then I was like, well, that's not what's being discussed here. My intention is not what's being discussed here. My impact and the effect that my words are having on other people is what's being discussed right now. And that's what needs to be addressed. Not, well, I didn't mean to. We're past that, boo. We're past that. Like, I truly remember having this conversation with myself. Like, that's on you. Yep, you fucked up. Like, I was able to see this person or people telling me this is incorrect and this is why. Who am I to be like, fuck you, you're wrong? Like, if I hurt someone unintentionally, why would I argue with them about my intention? Asshole move, right? I wish that I would have known that my whole fucking life. I wish that I was able to be that articulate and be that patient with myself and be that understanding to the other person and empathetic with what they're going through and like able to see their perspective faster. I don't know. This turned into a ramble, but it needed to be said. May have trouble with directions. Yeah, giving and receiving. Not a euphemism. I'm always like, if you pass the church with the green roof, you've gone too far by 2 miles. I'm always giving extra information that doesn't need to be given. You know? Well, you know that house on the left with the purple mailbox?
Right.
Keep going. Keep going. That's not the house. It's like, it's just...
I've just lost whatever you told me because now I'm thinking about, I'm making sure I got to see this purple fucking mailbox.
Yes, like... I make visual markers in my head as I go, but those don't need to be verbally said when you're relaying instructions to people. That's why I love just plugging in a fucking address into a map and hitting go. Take me there, you know. May have a large or advanced vocabulary. I've been told that I do. It's not something that I like harp on or even try at. For me, I think that comes from being misunderstood and misinterpreted so many fucking times and learning language that I wish I had known before that is far more specific and far more accurate to describe the situation. And even if it's a word that's not used every day, but it's still a fucking common word in English, even if it's not colloquial, I would rather use the more accurate word than to just say, me upset, me mad. Why use lot word when few word do trick? You know, like that has gotten me nothing but misunderstood and ostracized and isolated and othered and misconstrued my whole life. So if I have more specific language to describe something, that's what I'm going to use. And if that means I have a large or advanced vocabulary, sure, thanks. Yeah, I'll take it. May make strong use of routine or ritual. Yeah. This is another one where my ADHD will grapple with me, needing and craving that spontaneity, that dopamine, that impulsivity, but me being, I don't want to say married to a routine, because like sometimes if the dopamine doesn't hit anymore, I just have to do something completely new. But I'm committed to my comfort. I'm committed to things that I can largely know in advance what's going to happen. Like talking about like inconsequential routines here. Like there's so much that's up in the air that overloads me and overwhelms me and dysregulates me and that I have trouble processing, that if and when I can have control over something small in my day, whether it's sitting in my same chair or doing my same sequence of events or eating the same food or wearing the same clothes. Like, it's part of your routine. It's part of a ritual. And if something, the stability, yes. Tatey, you use a lot of big words. I do a lot of good. I'm sorry.
No, we were just talking about how Bean himself, he doesn't have like a great vocabulary.
Bean, you're doing great, and I love you. I love you.
It was just funny.
That's fucking funny.
The timing.
Yes. Gotta have some stability. That's what it's about. Yes. Yes, exactly. It's not about, it's the same thing. It's about, I know what to expect. I know the outcome. Unless some fuck shit happens, right? Which I'm always catastrophizing and Cassandraing and premium rushing the optimal path. My brain is just doing the most, and I mean that not lovingly. Please stop. Let's see. May have poor posture. Okay, listen. You don't have to...
Calm it down.
Bitch. Y'all didn't have to clock me to that extent. But yes. When I'm focused, I am a sloucher. Okay? And if I had good posture, the world couldn't handle me. Simple as. Did someone just do fat shits?
Yes.
Okay. May someone just did one of these in this house and I smell it.
Well,
Guess I'll be mouth breathing until the end of this. May have restricted eating choices. I used to be so much more adventurous with my food because I'm very sensory seeking. But I've put my digestive system through the ringer through the years in various ways. And now I very much have to listen. Like she's in the driver's seat now. It is no longer my show. I can't. I one time canceled a therapy session because at 2 a.m. the night before, I ate a frozen Totino's pizza with extra shredded cheddar cheese and sriracha on it as a 30-year-old woman with IBDD. So my restricted eating choices are part of my need for routine and in big part due to the fuck shit that my stomach goes through. As likely to be creative as into STEM. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. I am not a math and science autistic. I am a barf out music and art and weep at your favorite art and entertainment and media and learn about artists and develop special interests in art periods and just like try different art things. Always be drawn to those classes. I literally studied music in college. Like my brain is not geared toward like chemistry and alphanumerics and dry shit. Yes, what is your question? Ooh, we're out of the dots, the checklists, and we're now entering paragraph land.
it's right next to the TV land.
Yes, and I'll read this little paragraph while Bean's typing up a question. What it's like to be undiagnosed for decades. Holly Small, I apologize, I do not know how to pronounce that name, but Holly is the best-selling author of the Geek Girl series and was diagnosed autistic recently. I spent nearly 4 decades believing I was broken and being told that the different way I experienced the world was a result of something wrong inside me. It was only after my late autism diagnosis that I finally started making sense of not only my neurology, but of my past and who I actually am. It started me on the path to loving and understanding myself in my entirety, and it has changed my life completely. I am proud of my beautiful autistic brain. I no longer feel broken, and I am passionate about not only the advocacy of autistic people, but of the diagnosis, however late, that allows us to fully know and celebrate ourselves. That's fucking beautiful. I love that. This is her. What is your question? The container above my head on stream. Yes, okay. This is my tater sack of little charms and doodads. I think these are when people use emotes, bits, cheers, or subs. A coin or that little thing will come out of here. It'll be like boop, boop, and fall into the bag. And yeah. Contribute to my tater sack today, if you want to. Okay. Let me zoom out a little. This is a little blurry, but I'll read it. I don't know if it's coming across as blurry on stream, but... Problems with diagnosis. My butt is numb. What else is new? We need a new chair. See, look! There they went! Thank you for gifting a sub. That's a beautiful test. Bean! Oh my god, hold on. Bean, you have gifted 60 subs in this channel. You're crumb-believable. You are a hero. Yes. 69's the limit. Autistic, okay, here we go. Problems with diagnosis. Autistic girls are let down repeatedly when it comes to accessing a diagnosis. On average, autistic girls are diagnosed 2 to 3 years later than boys. I was 29. 29. On average, I just read that. Stereotypes of autism and a lack of understanding of how autistic girls may present by professionals at all parts of the pathway can play a huge part in this. Take a look at this image showing all the reasons we've been told. That doesn't work anymore. In our Facebook group, why autistic girls have been refused an assessment for a diagnosis. These are all the reasons. Mother is overprotective. Too much empathy. My child was said to be the bully. Has a good sense of humor. Makes eye contact. Sensitive child. Talks too much. We have to prove we're... What does that say? We have to prove we're spending... It's so blurry. I cannot make that out. I apologize. Over imagination. Not violent or repetitive. Nothing wrong with her. That's an ableist red flag right there. There's nothing wrong with being autistic. Autism is not wrong. Autism is not incorrect. Autism is, you know? Can hold a conversation. Fine at school. She's clever. She has friends. Attachment to parent. Can play imaginatively. You need to be referred by your GP. I was told that I couldn't be autistic because I'm a good communicator. I'm a good communicator because I've been in therapy for years. I'm hyperverbal. I've been reading since I was 3, and I like to find specific, particular language that describes my situation. It's not, you know, like, it's not innate. It's not, I didn't wake up like this. You know what I mean? I've also been told that I can't be autistic because I don't have a monotone voice. Cool, doc. I also got told that I can't be autistic because if I was, then my parents would have had me assessed. I think I told this story. I'm just trying to think because it's kind of hard. It's kind of a hard one, but I'm just going to keep it surface level. I was severely physically injured when I was like 5 years old, and I had a severe visible head injury, and I was not taken to the hospital for that. My aunt was called over, who was a phlebotomist, and was like, don't go to sleep. So that was 1990, I don't know, 8, 7, Appalachia. So yeah, if I'm not going to be taken to the ER for a visible head wound, and I've been emotionally invalidated and neglected my whole life and got the shit beat out of me for having needs, then why the fuck would my parents have me assessed for autism? Cricket, blink, cricket, blink. You know? I'm moving on.
Funny, tell another one.
That's funny, tell another one. Exactly. The referral process can be very challenging, even when an autistic girl, boy, or non-binary young person can have very similar presentations. Autistic girls tend to be overlooked by professionals. Speech delays have been known to have been put down to shyness or anxiety, and many still view autism as more of a boy condition, so are more reluctant to refer girls for assessment again. There are many interconnected systemic reasons for why that is, none of which are the autistic girls and women's and people's fault who fell through the cracks. You know that, right? Ableists hate watching me right now. You know that, right? Just checking. Where an autistic girl has more of an internalized presentation, they may not even pass the screening process to be referred. Many of the questions on the screening questionnaires do not reflect internal presentations, and frequently families are forced to choose a private assessment after not passing on NHS screening pre-assessment. Now, I believe this is based in the UK. Correct me if I'm wrong. NHS is the National Health Services. That's like a UK thing, right? Yeah, that's what I thought. Even once a referral has gone through, the delay in waiting for assessment is significant. A questionnaire conducted by AGN pre-pandemic found that 43% of autistic girls waited up to 2 years for diagnosis, and 24% waited more than 3 years. This waiting time is, of course, worse now. There are local authorities in England where children have already been waiting for 4 years and have not yet had their assessment appointment date. The NICE guidelines say that the wait time between referral and assessment should be 13 weeks. This delay is failing autistic children and their families. It leads to the exacerbation of mental health difficulties and a lengthier time of not receiving adequate support for their needs. And here's the gag. Autism doesn't grow out of you when you turn 18 magically. So, if you didn't get clocked by disrupting your environment, disrupting your peers, or externally presenting your autism, and you flew under the radar, and you reach adulthood, and you find this shit out about yourself late, and you want resources and help and accommodations, it's crickets and tumbleweeds. Because the resources for autistic adults, by and large, don't exist in any real capacity, in any helpful, accommodating capacity. And autistic resources and therapy that exists for children is very much geared toward getting the children to comply, getting the children to behave, getting the children to fall in line, getting the children to obey their parents. And that's also known as ABA therapy, applied behavior analysis, which was, I don't know what word, not coined, I guess developed, established, come up with by the same person who is responsible for gay conversion therapy. So, even though I wasn't in ABA therapy, I was thinking about this the other day, like, if I had known that I was autistic as a child, would my life have been better? Would my upbringing have been better? Would my needs have been met? Or would I have gone through a different kind of hell, a different kind of dismissal, a different kind of infantilization, a different kind of trauma? But even though I wasn't in ABA therapy where I was taught how to mask my traits and sit on my hands and be a good little girl, I got the shit beat out of me on the regs. So that kept me in line. By no choice of my own, obviously. And that forced me to go inward and escape in my mind and in books and not safely be myself until I'm a grown woman living on my own. So yeah, not fun. Okay, we finished this page. Did we? Yeah. What happens when not recognized? Is this big enough? I'm always self-conscious that y'all can't read along, but see, that's too big. I'm trying to really enunciate as well, because I know I got a bit of a twang. When autistic young people who present internally go unrecognized, they are likely to be struggling with anxiety, depression, and other mental health problems, as well as poor self-esteem. Ding, ding, ding. This can be due to feeling different from their peers, not receiving the right support for their needs, or feeling forced to mask their difficulties. All the above, bitch. All of the above. For my whole life. Unrecognized autistic people who present internally may also have difficulty developing a sense of their own identity. Painfully true. Painfully true until I learned about my autism. And can develop unhelpful coping strategies such as self-harm, eating disorders, or self-medicating with drugs or alcohol. Checks across the board. They may be offered therapies such as CBT for their mental health without these being adapted for use with autistic people, meaning they're often ineffective. I know that CBT and DBT are different. CBT, I'm just trying to remember the acronym. Cognitive is what the C is. CBT is cognitive behavioral therapy, and according to a quick Google search, is a type of psychotherapy that helps people change their thinking, feeling, and behavioral patterns to manage problems. But if that's not adapted to an autistic neurotype, then it's not going to work the same. It's kind of like how neurotypical advice doesn't work for ADHDers. Just get a planner. Just focus. Just. First of all, any unsolicited advice starting with just is probably not the stellar advice you think it is. Second of all, if you have ADHD, buying all the planners in the world is super cute, but you're out $30 every time in an expired planner because you forget it exists. At least that's my case. But I've been in and out of therapy for years. Like, as an adult. I didn't start therapy until I was an adult. But until my last couple of months of therapy, I didn't know that I was autistic. Had no idea that I had ADHD even. And with the exception of my most recent therapist, all the time from these therapists, I got told that I'm too self-aware. And that always pissed me off and confused me, and they never really elaborated. Like, and I'm still kind of befuddled about it, clearly. Like, it makes me question, what is the point of therapy even? Because being self-aware doesn't mean that I've got my shit figured out. It just means I know what's going on. It doesn't mean I know how to fix it or resolve it. And I'm only saying this because a lot of autistic peers that I know have been told the same thing by therapists. And it rubs them the wrong way too. Like, I was watching, I can't remember who it was, a recent TikTok. Someone was talking about this and how, like, that's not... When I say that autistic adults don't have real, helpful, like, tangible resources, it's shit like this. It's, we need, like, more autistic people in healthcare. More people who understand late diagnosed and late discovered and unknown and internalized and masked autism. And at the very least, who have experience with trauma and understanding what it's like to have to retroactively piece together your entire life with new knowledge. Just meeting us at the door. You know what I mean? I feel like so many of my therapists dismissed me because I was just like way too much to work out. And I get it, because I did. but like that's what therapy's for, right?
It's one day at a time.
It's like I don't know, man. It's like it's just a disingenuous conversation. It's like reaching out to somebody because you need help. And they don't really help you, but they just keep telling you, you know, I'm always here if you need help. That's why yes, help me, help. Well, I'm always here for you. I'm here for you. Help me, help. Well, I can't do that right now, but I'm always here to help. Like, it's always at an impasse. It's at an impasse, and it's painful and infuriating. Okay. There are higher rate. Okay. Trigger warning, self-harm, suicide. You know, not going to get into it at length. Just letting you know it's coming down the pipe here. Pipe. Is it coming down the pike? Coming down the pipe? Coming down. Let's read. There are higher rates of suicide attempts and completed suicide amongst autistic people. Autistic girls and women in particular are disproportionately represented in these statistics, with a 4 times higher risk of suicide attempts than men. And these figures don't account for the vast numbers of those who are undiagnosed. Mister, you are incorrect for that. Why don't you come on out of there? Come on out. Okay. Mental health issues are common in autistic people. One study of autistic adolescents aged 10 to 14 found that 71% had co-occurring mental health disorders. Rates of anxiety and depression disorders are alarmingly high, with one study indicating prevalence rates of 54% for anxiety conditions and 47% for depression. And these numbers are, again, like they said, these figures don't account for undiagnosed autistic people who are just aimlessly floating through the universe like a dandelion seed that can't quite get their footing or land or you know, don't fucking know the breadth and depth of the reality of the workings of their mind. And everyone, I believe, deserves to know the reality of the inner workings of their mind. And people who gatekeep this information, it's such a pointless endeavor, because learning about ourselves has nothing to do with you or your diagnosis for your thing that you got in your life, you know? Autistic young people, I was going to read. I love you so much, Bean. Oh my goodness, get to sleep. You stayed up so late for me, and I love you and appreciate you. Oh my goodness. I love you so much. Thank you for being here. Too introspective. Yes, it's indicative of an almost obsessive level where you're unhealthily focusing on what you need to or sometimes can't change. Yeah, I spent a lot of time hyperfixating on shit that I would get wrong, and that still manifests. Like, bitch, when I'm spiraling or I'm in my feelings about shit, I will sit and rethink interactions from middle school that still make me cringe. Sometimes my brain will involuntarily bring those up when I'm in the middle of doing something, just an embarrassing moment or an embarrassing mishap or misstep or misspeak or miss anything, and I have to involuntarily shake myself out of it, and I have to say a thing or make a noise. For a while it was, yep. And now it's like, boop, boop, or I'll just start singing or something. My brain is a shitbag. All right. Autistic young people who present internally and go unrecognized, but also find it harder to engage with their education to achieve their full potential. What's up?
He's just being a jerk in the kitchen.
May make it harder to engage with their education to achieve their full potential. They may refuse to go to school because of high anxiety levels or struggle to pay attention in a classroom, impacting on academic achievement. Yeah, if I didn't sit in the front, you lost me. I had to sit in the front. Because if I sat in the back, I was looking at the back of people's heads and looking at their backpacks and being like, oh, what book are they reading? Is that New Moon? I have to be where the information is, or you lose me. Furthermore, school exclusion is common amongst children with additional needs, and autistic young people who present internally who are not supported in school environments may be excluded, especially if it's not known that they are autistic. 45% of autistic pupils are excluded at some point, but this statistic is only counting those, again, who have been diagnosed. So, being sniffed out by your peers because of some intangible difference that they know about you, but you don't, and it turns out that you're actually autistic, that counts. That counts as being excluded. Because that shit's real. That shit hurts. That shit affects you. That shit stays with you. That shit affects how you move in the world. It does. It really does. Ultimately, as well as a diagnosis, hopefully opening doors to some support, autistic people also need it to have a chance to build their own identity and self-esteem. If you were unable to walk and used a wheelchair, you wouldn't blame yourself for that inability to walk. In the same way, if autistic people feel disabled, and the framework of disability has a place in the neurodiversity movement too, they need to be able to understand that there is a reason so that they aren't hard on themselves or believe they're broken. There's a huge boost, too, in finding a group of people you can relate to when you have felt different for most of your life. Autistic young people have a right to know that they're autistic. I would venture to say autistic people of any age. Of any age. I have peers and mutuals who didn't know that they were autistic until they were in their 50s, their 60s. My own mother, me learning about my own autism, learning that it's genetic and present from birth, and able to retroactively connect the dots in my own life, I was able to present this information to my mother and help her come to terms with her autism. And she didn't learn until she was 64 years old. Who else had birthdays where people didn't show up? Ouch. Yeah. I mentioned the movie 8th Grade before on this stream. But there's a scene where this girl goes to a birthday party, and it's not quite that, like, no one didn't show up, but it just reminded me, like, it's a pool party, and there's, like, kids in the living room playing video games or, like, doing karaoke or something, and the mom's in the kitchen making snacks, and, like, people are out by the pool, and... Hold on, my cat is destroying everything.
He's fine. He just got stuck.
Well, he needs to get unstuck. He's distracting me. Okay, I'm gonna have to take a quick BRB and take care of this kid. Hold on, y'all. Ha. Okay. What was I even fucking saying? Okay, we were talking about that movie. Groups of people existing here doing their own thing. Groups of people over there existing doing their own thing. One kid in class that no one else really talks to because they all call him weird. And then the girl, the main character. And weird kid, I'm only calling him that because he's not weird. He's just like by himself. But, you know, it was implied that, don't talk to him. He will invite him to be nice kind of thing. She gravitated toward him. And then she kind of just like made her way inside and was hanging by herself in like a dining room. Like it was very, very real and very triggering and upsetting and reminiscent on how I operated at parties that I was invited to. Again, friendships are hard. Stream on YouTube. Before I dissociate and spiral completely, I'm going to continue because thinking about this stuff really takes me there sometimes. You know what I mean? All right. Yep, we finished that page. Did we? Yes. Do we? I don't know. No. Autistic young people and any person have a right to know that they're autistic. They deserve the chance to receive the right support and to understand themselves. They deserve the chance to thrive. That goes for the doctor who asked me, well, why do you need to have this diagnosis? And completely took me off guard, and I didn't know what to say. So I like rambled and word vomited and didn't portray what I wanted to portray there. Because if you're going to the doctor and getting screened for diabetes or anxiety or migraines or literally anything else, a broken leg, and the doctor says, well, what are you hoping to obtain from this diagnosis today? What would your end goal be? Showing up here with a broken femur. What are you trying to get something out of this? It's like, well, doc, I was hoping you'd reset my leg, operate if necessary, wrap me up in a cast, slap my ass, and send me on my way. But now you're making me think like I'm fucking nefarious and evil and like, I don't know, attention seeking for going to the for going to a mental health Are we? What are we doing? People deserve to know the truth about themselves. People deserve to know the reality of the inner workings of their own mind, whatever that might mean. Me learning about my autism 30 years late doesn't mean that I all of a sudden had it. It means, oh, things I experienced from ages 0 to 30, that's what that is? Oh, okay. It doesn't change my experience. It doesn't change my reality. It only gives me information about it. So to the gatekeepers, I say, question mark, right? Okay. I'm going to read a couple more pages, maybe one more actually. I think this will be the last one. Actually, I don't know. Yeah, this will be the last one because the next one goes into school for a couple pages and then I'm going to call it. But this is a page about eating disorders. So content warning there. I hopefully won't get too into it. Also, what is it with doctors not wanting to listen to women and those who are AFAB? Misogyny.
That's a whole other street.
Misogyny is a hell of a drug. Yes, it is. It's killing the whole planet. Oh, yes. Yes, it is. The patriarchy harms everybody. Yes, it does. Stop fucking being assholes to women, y'all.
It's easy, actually.
Non-binary folk. How about we all stop being assholes to other people who are just trying to get answers about their life?
No, we quit fucking policing how people present themselves.
Believe women, believe trans people, believe black people, believe all these marginalized people. I talk about this all the time. If I left something out right now, it's because my mouth can't brain. But believe people who are negatively affected by oppressive systems when they try to tell you their experience. Simple as. All right. Co-occurrence with eating disorders. Dr. Elizabeth Shea, consultant clinical psychologist, says, hold on. That burp is not part of the quote. Approximately 1.25 million people in the UK are affected by an eating disorder, with impacts including poor quality of life and higher mortality rates. The prevalence of eating disorders and autism is not known, although it is estimated that 20 to 35% of females with anorexia nervosa may be autistic. It is now increasingly recognized that eating disorders frequently co-occur with autism, and that autistic individuals are more vulnerable to developing problems with food and eating. Clinical experience suggests these issues are primarily ones of restriction, varying in severity and cause. For example, from sensory-based aversions to the look, smell, taste, and feel of certain foods, which forms part of the new diagnostic label, Avoidant and Restrictive Food Intake Disorder, ARFID. I mentioned that earlier. I'm learning more about it. I'm going to do a stream about this specifically as I gather the spoons to learn more about it, because it's learning about something that I may be experiencing, and it takes a lot of processing power and spoons and grappling. You know what I mean? But more information to come. But please learn about it on your own. I'm not stopping you. To significant calorie reduction and life-threatening weight loss, which may lead to a diagnosis of anorexia nervosa. Many autistic women present with a complex combination of symptoms with potential causal factors including sensory sensitivities, social interaction differences, identity, cognitive style, and a need for control and predictability, stability, routine, ritual, right? The social impacts of eating disorders, such as inability to eat with others, are likely to disproportionately affect autistic people. When it comes to interventions, there remains a significant gap in the knowledge base. The UK NICE guidelines for eating disorders do not include ARFID, nor how to treat eating disorders in autistic people. In particular, the lived experience of autistic women indicates barriers to effective treatment, which include a poor understanding of autism, a lack of individualized care, and difficulties accessing services. More research and professional knowledge are imperative, not least to improve the understanding of how autism and eating disorders co-occur and to provide better and more effective interventions. I agree with you. Fuck it all. Yeah, there's so much that we don't know that they don't even know what they don't know yet. Learning about this and all of this new information and new knowledge of increases of prevalence not coinciding with an increase of existence, because autistic people have always been here, and how it affects women and non-binary people and how it manifests with co-occurring conditions. All of this is still very much in its infancy, right? Last year, the very first person... Thank you. I will do that. Last year, 2023, Donald Triplett died. He was the first person to formally be diagnosed with autism, and he died last year. That's how recent all of this is. That's how developing all of this knowledge is. And as more knowledge comes out, we learned on last stream that it takes anywhere from 15 to 20 years, I think they said 17 years, for knowledge to like become updated in the zeitgeist and be like mainstream, widely available and like accepted, you know? So this is very much an uphill battle, right? And with naysayers and gatekeepers and invalidating systems and oppressive exclusionary barriers and socioeconomic bullshit that's in place to avoid or to prohibit autistic people from receiving any sort of validation, accommodation, help, support, anything like that. It's just exhausting, dude. It's already an uphill battle to have to retroactively learn about the entirety of your existence. So if you find yourself in this boat of relating to people who talk about being autistic or having ADHD, and it resonates with you on like a bone-ringing level that nothing else ever really did, or people are saying things out loud that you've never shared with anyone because you thought it was just a you thing, but it explains everything and it has names for it, like time blindness and executive dysfunction and echolalia and stimming and ARFID and autism. You know, just thinking about stuff like my own stuff, but anything else that can coexist with that. You deserve to know that about yourself, and you deserve to have people in your corner who accept you for that, and in my case, who have also gone through that. Like, I'm learning shit. We're learning shit from each other all the time. Like, exchanging information about our own experiences and what we've learned and what's likely to co-occur. It's just so much. And I'm glad that I'm going over this document because, like I said at the beginning of last stream, this document really helped me come to terms with gearing myself toward, okay, I do think that this applies to me here. Let me see what else I can learn. Like, this publication very much did it for me. And getting that ball rolling, I mean. I didn't see one TikTok and make up my mind. I didn't take one online assessment and make up my mind. This is very much a multi-month year journey. And it's not linear. And it's fucking painful and it hurts and it's brutal and it's messy. And the truth is sharp and painful and ouchy. And retroactive late realizations are a plot twist in your life. So be fucking kind to yourself. And this is for me too. Okay, listen. You're really hard on yourself a lot. You doubt yourself a lot. You second guess yourself a lot. You are riddled with imposter syndrome, especially being unmedicated now. And reacquainting yourself with your unmedicated brain, which you had for 28 years. You only had 2 years of medicated bliss with ADHD. So, like, this is for me too. We should be kind to ourselves. And if you're ever having a moment where you are a shitbag to yourself, you know, when your brain's being a shitbag to you, I don't know. I don't know what kind of advice I want to give there because I don't necessarily know what the answer to that is. What do you do when you're being a shitbag to yourself?
Be kind to yourself.
Be kind to yourself? Yeah.
It's just harder to hear that from inside.
It is harder to hear that from inside. That's why I sort of just kind of spiral until I'm able to verbally talk about it or talk to you about it or make a TikTok or write about it or post about it, you know?
Yeah, and if you can't be kind to yourself, then yeah, get it out. Talk to somebody. Like,
Yes.
Or write it down.
Yes, write it down, get it out.
At the very least.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know, Doc Croc. I was just looking. I see who the first psychiatrist to diagnose autism, but who was the first woman to be diagnosed with autism? That is an interesting question that I'm going to independently find the answer to and maybe cover on a future stream. Because the first person, of course, was a man. And I don't know when he was diagnosed or anything, but that's interesting. But yeah, my brain is mush now because reading out loud does that to me because I struggle to find my place, to keep my place. Things start blending together. It's a whole thing. But we got through, you know, we're going to start on page 18 next time, which is great. And it's good to reread this shit and reprocess it with like a couple years of knowledge and lived experience as my autistic self under my belt, and revisiting this is really nice. And I'm able to see where some of the stuff doesn't apply to me and some of it does. And it reiterates that autism is a spectrum. And if you've met an autistic person, you've met an autistic person. Autism doesn't have a look. It doesn't have a smell. I have smells, plural. Thank you. But anyway, I'm going to go, I think. My butt's numb and I need to wash my face. But next stream, I don't know. My persistent drive for autonomy feels a little put in a box with this. Like, what if I did a stream of something else and then came back to this? Or should I just do it all at once? I don't know. Something for me to mull over on my own, right? I love y'all so much. Thank you so much for being here tonight. Everybody that followed that's new. All the lurkers who hang out. Lurkers are the backbone of the stream. Whether you're here to be nice or to be mean, you are keeping my stream afloat. And I appreciate that. But lurkers, listeners, now and later, I hope you have a beautiful time zone wherever thou may art. Thank you for plugging the hub. Yes, all my socials, buy my merch, potatum.com. There's something for everybody on there, and I'm designing new designs, and I'm entering my shitpost era, I'll say, in designing merch. I'm like abandoning my own like art design rules and just fucking having fun. And it's been fun. So be on the lookout for new shit there. But I'll be back soon on a Wednesday or Saturday. And more burps will be had then. So I love y'all so much. This will be up on YouTube in a few days. And I'll see you next time. Bye.